All right, it's time for some piano. Here we are, and here we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today we are going to be learning John Lennon's Imagine, a very popular and very iconic song. So I'm thrilled to bring you this lesson today. A couple of things you can do for me before we get started, though. Let's go ahead and like and share this video. That way more and more people know about the awesome lessons that I'm bringing. The second thing is if you could subscribe on YouTube, right? So here we are, YouTube. Hit the button, that way you can get reminded whenever there are new piano lessons that you can learn from, okay? I'd love to have you. The next thing, of course, is we are on Discord, right? So I have my own Discord server where I give feedback for all of my piano students, and you can intermingle with all of your fellow piano learners, and we would love to have you there. It's a fun place. You get to explore, you get to exchange ideas and practice tips with your peers, and then you get that chance to hang out with me too. I'd love to see you on Discord. And of course, the final thing is I'm on Patreon, right? So if you like these lessons, consider supporting me with the monthly donation on Patreon. It's the #1 spot to find and support your favorite creators, including yours truly. So consider a monthly donation. I have different tiers from $3 a month all the way up to $90 a month, especially if you're looking for private lessons, which I have a few spots left. So if you want in on my schedule, you know what to do, right? I'll see you there. All right, well, let's get started on our lesson today. I, of course, as usual, have a file folder and I have printed out my music. If you're looking for the music, it's in the description of this video, okay? Just go ahead and hit download and print it out, okay? There it is in my file folder, and I have it here, all right? Now, next, we have to talk a little bit about the song itself. There's some really interesting musical things that we need to know about it before we jump right into learning notes, okay? The first thing is we are going to be in a C major, okay? That's a good thing, right? It's a pretty self-explanatory key. There are no sharps, no flats, very straightforward, all right? The second thing is our time signature is a very standard 4/4 time. So this is going to be the perfect little, I guess, introductory rock song that even my early intermediate students could probably figure out, okay? So the only thing that's going to be tricky on this one is probably the rhythm, and that's the intricate part. Okay, the next thing is we have sort of a moderato tempo, so moderately fast. It's quarter note equals 70, so it's not necessarily like crazy fast, and it's not super slow either. It's like a nice walking tempo, okay? All right, I guess that would be considered andante. It's sort of something around that level, okay? All right, let's take a look and see how this is going, all right? We're gonna start with the left hand, all right? Now let's see here. Hopefully we're not getting any lag. Okay, if you have any issues, just comment. Now looking here at Imagine, we're going to start by taking a peek at the introduction, okay? This begins with the left hand following a pattern across 2 measures. It's an 8th note pattern, and it ends with a 16th eighth at the end of it, okay? Like I said, it's in C position, C major. Let's see how this begins. I'll switch to piano view. All right. So looking here, we're going to begin with our thumb left hand, finger 1, on our G. That's setting you up in a perfect C position there, okay? As we progress through this 2-measure pattern, we will be utilizing our thumb and the range of motion with the thumb, okay? So this is how it begins. We've got a third with a 1 and 3 down to C. That's 3 times. Now you're going to stretch your thumb finger 1 up to this B and play it with your E. Now we have 2 and 1 on F and A. And then we have that 16th eighth. Alright? So it's A sharp, B. And then you repeat the first position. Stretch out to B, then A and F. A sharp, B, right? That's how it sounds in the beginning. Let's see if we can play it once more. I will not use the pedal this time. I have sort of like this natural inclination to use the pedal because I see it written there, but as I'm teaching it, it's better if we use it without pedal so you can hear exactly where those changes are happening, okay? Let's try it one more time. 1, 2, ready, and play. That's that initial opening pattern, okay? Now, as we're doing that, make a note that, again, the fingering and the fingers that I'm using for my version of this song may or may not be the best versions for you. But as your teacher, I'm sort of guiding you in the direction of a more effective fingering. So if you find that it's still not really working for you, that's okay. See what works for you and your hand, right? Your hand may not be able to stretch as far as mine. Or maybe it stretches further. That's possible too, okay? So just make a note of that. So those that little pair of 16th notes with the 8th at the end, the finger pattern I'm using for that is I start my thumb on the A, then I'm crossing my 2 over 1 on the A sharp, then I have my 1 again on the B, okay? So it goes... That way it feels more natural for me, and I'm not necessarily like, doing somersaults over my fingers, okay? So that's that initial opening pattern for the left hand. Now I want you to notice a couple things, okay? As we start jumping into verse 1, the left hand, that pattern that we did in the introduction, happens again, okay? It happens 1, 2 more times on that second line, and then 1 more time on the third line. So if you do a really good job practicing that opening introduction, you've learned a very big chunk of this song already. So that's a good thing, okay? Now, let's go through that since we kind of already know it, okay? So I'll switch back to piano view, and I'm just going to play until the middle of line 3, okay? That's to the end of measure 8 if you're looking at your measure numbers, okay? All right, let's see here. Having a little bit of choppiness. That's not good. All right, let's see here. All right, starting here at measure 3. This is line 2, the left hand. Are you ready? 1, 2, ready, play. At the beginning of measure 9, the pattern changes, okay? It might follow the same rhythmic pattern, but the notes have changed, okay? We're still doing 8th note with this bum, 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 but the notes are different now, okay? So starting at measure 9, let's take a look at it. It's an opening third that we're very aware of. Then it does that same E and B 5th. It continues in measure 10, the last measure of line 3, with the F and A. And we know that one too, okay? So measure 10, you should probably get that one, okay? Let me switch to piano view, and we're going to see how measures 10 and then all of line 4 sounds like, okay? So that's measures 10 through 14, all right? Let's see how that goes. Okay. So starting in measure 9, this is where we are. Line 3, measure 3. Okay, it's starting with that C position, third. Okay, let me count off slowly and we'll see how this sounds, okay? 1, 2, ready, and play. Third, fifth, F and A. Beginning of line 4 continues with F and A. Now the inner voice goes down a step to E and A. Then again down to D and A with a pinky dropping to an A. Now the inner voice down to a C and A. Very good. Now it switches up with a 1 and 2 on G and B with a pinky on D. Stretch the thumb up to middle C. Then we have a harmonic 7th chord. Very good. Okay. Do you see how that changes? It really does have a difference, okay? So let's try that section one more time. You can't see my face. Hello. You're going to try that section one more time, okay? If you're still having trouble with it, that's okay. This is not an easy song, but it's just a challenge enough for you to really feel like you want to keep going with it, okay? Make pencil marks that help you, okay? Like I mentioned at measure 11, when we got into it that very first time, the inner voices start going down like by a step, okay? So what I mean by inner voices is that the inner note of that harmonic chord, right? If I was playing it like a chord, that's a 4 chord. Then it goes down a step from F to E. Notice how that changes. It's like this. Those are those inner notes of those chords that really make a difference in how it sounds, okay? I'll switch back to piano view and we'll work on this part together, okay? Okay. All right, I just had to get that in there. I know you guys are following me. Okay, wonderful. So, starting here at measure 11, this is the beginning of line 4, left hand. That's this F and A third with a pinky on the bottom. That makes a 4 chord. This is what it sounds like. 1, 2, ready, play. Inner note to E, inner note to D, drop your pinky to A. Inner note to C, A, C, A. Now you go up to G and B, to D, up to C, and a 7. Let's try that one more time, all of line 4, left hand. But now I'm not going to say anything, okay? Because I know you guys rely very much on your ear to make sure it sounds right. Let's try it one more time. 1, 2, ready, play. Yeah, all right. That was nice. That was nice. We're making progress, okay? Now, I kind of want to start a little bit looking at the right hand because it's got the melody, right? So we've learned the verses, right? Verse 1 sounds just like this, right? And then it repeats. You see the repeat sign at the end of line 4? It will repeat back to the beginning of line 2, okay? We're going to play verse 2, okay? After you do that, you play your chorus. That's at the beginning of line 5, okay? Line 5 and 6 are the chorus, but look, it has a first ending. So that means at the end of the first ending, you're actually going to go back to line 2 and play the verse a 3rd time, okay? After you play a verse the 3rd time, then you're going to play the chorus with the 2nd ending, okay? It's kind of a confusing roadmap, but don't let it get you down. Once you learn all of the music here, then you'll be able to follow the roadmap as it's supposed to be played, okay? Let's take a look at the right hand, okay? I know you're excited about playing the melody, okay? Now like I said before, the interesting thing and the tricky thing about the melody is the rhythm, okay? It's not necessarily a straight quarter note rhythm or a straight eighth note. We've got some 16ths, we've got some dots, we've got some really interesting things happening because of the nature of the lyrics that John Lennon had written for this piece. So make a note of that, okay? It's not as straightforward as it looks. All right, I'm going to switch to piano view and we'll see where we're going to set up shop. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to have our right hand thumb on our G above middle C, okay? And we're setting up there because it sort of lives in that area, okay? Eventually, when we get to line 4, it'll stretch up a little bit higher. But for right now, we're going to be down here, okay? Now, as we're doing the rhythm, we're going to envision the left hand playing, right? We got bum, 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 ba, ba, bum, bum. And then the right hand comes in. G, 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 B, B, A. Rest. Yeah, it happens quick, right? So let's hear that again. The first measure, which is measure 3 of line 2. Measure 3 is the first measure of line 2. Excuse me, that was a little confusing. And we have a 16th before 8th notes, okay? 1 and... Right? So it's about like that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Rest and 2 and rest and rest and rest. G, G, hold. 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2. 2, rest, rest, rest. The right hand rhythm, right? It sort of caught me by surprise too because I'm trying to like formulate how I'm going to verbally give you cues to that. So it might be a little bit tricky as we figure this out together. Just bear with me, okay? So the right hand, if we know we're going to be stuck in this G area, let's work on the rhythm now, okay? I'm going to count 1, so 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, run. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. 2, rest and rest and rest. A, C, E, E, D, C, A. Rest. 2 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... There it is, right? Yeah, so there's that melody for this piece. It's hard. Getting the rhythms exact, it would probably help if you knew the lyrics to the piece because the rhythm is following the lyrics, okay? If you know the song, by heart, right, then it'll be easier for you to play those rhythms. That's kind of the advice that I can give you for that. And the rhythms probably are going to be changing as the lyrics change between verses 1, 2, and 3. So make a note of that too, okay? It might be handy to print out a copy of the lyrics if you don't know the song by heart, okay? All right. Now, I kind of want to see what it sounds like hands together, but we still have to learn the chorus. So it might be a good idea to, let's just play the verse hands together. You can listen to it, and then we'll learn the chorus, okay? Let's give it a try. All right. Okay. I'll do a little bit of the intro and then we'll get started, okay? This is just the verses, okay? This is verse 1, the same thing with verse 2, and the verse 3 sounds exactly the same, okay? So let's give it a try. 1, 2, ready, play. So those are the verses, okay? Nice, okay. It's sounding nice. I feel like sometimes my left hand dynamics are a little overpowering. So I myself need to be mindful of letting the melody sort of carry the tune instead of the ostinato or that repeated pattern in the left hand, okay? Letting the right hand be the leader, right? So that's something that I personally need to work on for this piece. The first time through on the verse, I made a mistake. At measure 12, I ended up playing the 16ths at the end of measure 11 rather than the beginning beat of measure 12. And that had a big impact because it kind of threw me off. So I apologize for that. But on the second time through, when I did the verse a second time, it actually sounded okay. I did it exactly as it was written, okay? Let's dive into the chorus now, okay? Let's do the left hand to begin, okay? And then we'll move into the right hand, okay? Now, for the left hand chorus, we're going to be playing again and living in that C position area. It's going to be a C and an F and an A, right? And then it goes down a fourth, then B, right? So it does this sort of pattern. It goes, starts and then it goes down and then it meets meets it back up in the middle, right? Let me switch to piano view so we can work on that part together. Okay. All right. Now, looking here. Oh, let me see here. Hold on. Okay, that's better. I'm having some lagginess issues, so if this video is really bugging you, please let me know in the comments. I can re-record it if I need to, but I'm really hoping that this good 30-minute chunk is going to be acceptable, so we'll see. Okay, so starting at measure 15, we've got F, finger 2, and thumb on finger on A, finger 1, thumb on A, pinky on our C bass clef. Okay, so it starts off like that. Then we have a fourth. I like to use a thumb and a finger 2 with a pinky on my B. It does that twice. And then I have my thumb on E, G, C and E, G, E, G again. And then we have a thumb and a finger 2 on D and G with a B. Right? You can either use a 4 or a 5 for that. And then we've got our original pattern. To the beginning of line 2. Okay. Now, if you notice something at the beginning of 15, this 2-measure pattern. Oh, you should see my face. Hello. At the beginning of 15, so we've got this pattern. It's that 2-measure pattern, right? That. And then it returns back to that original part of that measure. The beginning part of the pattern, okay? So this is a pattern of 2 measures, okay? It happens one time at 15 and 16, another time at 17 and 18, and then again at 19 and 20, okay? So if you learn those first 2 measures, 15 and 16, really well, you can apply it to the 2 more times. It's like you're doing this repetitive pattern 3 times total, right? It starts to change again when you get to 19, 20, 20, 21 and 22, right? So 21, it sort of sets itself up the same, but because you have a first ending and then later on the second ending, it'll be different, okay? But it's not a surprise. It's not a total surprise at what these notes are, okay? So if you need to, write brackets around that first initial group, measures 15 and 16. That way it's a visual cue and it tells you, okay, this is going to happen again, right? So put those brackets. I like brackets because they're not like totally overwhelming in your music, right? Okay, now that's pretty good considering for the left hand. Let's take a look at now measures, the chorus 15 through 22, 23 with the right hand, okay? This is the part where I actually get a little bit confused because of the rhythm. It just really gets me. So we gotta work on it, okay? All right, let's switch to piano view. Work on that right hand. So the right hand in measure 15 is beginning here with a C, C above middle C. So we're using our pinky, okay? 1, 2, and 3. Do you see how we did that? We have quarter, 16. That entire measure needed to be done in 4 beats. So that's why it sounds kind of funny. Let's try it again. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest. A, C, B. 2, 3, and 4, and Okay. All right, let me talk a little bit about this, okay? The bottom line, measure 19, seems very similar to measure 15. Notes-wise, it's the same, but we've got some rhythmic differences, okay? Again, remember when I talked about this being very much related and heavily reliant on the lyrics, okay? Our right hand is emulating John Lennon singing this piece, so it's very much related on like how those syllables of the lyrics are divided. So again, if you need to reference the actual lyrics of this song, go ahead and do that, okay? If you use a file folder to put your music, you can have your piano music on this side, but then on this side, just cut out the lyrics and tape it in here on the other side. So you've got it available to read, okay? And you can break it down like that, right? You can break down those lyrics and syllables to really understand why is the rhythm so weird, right? Because in my head, I just want to play it nice and straight, you know, straight rhythm, like, you know. Are suggesting? Like, well, how are those syllables sounding? That's something that you have to look up, okay? So make sure you have that available. Okay, so at 19, I talked about those measures being similar, right? There's actually a typo. Woohoo! Good sleuthing skills. So the typo is actually the first ending, the very first note in the right hand. It's written as a D above middle C. Okay, so this, not this D, but this one up here. This one up here. This D, I guess that would be considered a D5 if you're looking at those numbers. A D5, it actually should be an E5. Okay, that you can scratch out and you can put an E instead. Just put it one space higher. It happens again also in the second ending. Okay, let me show you what this looks like, because I don't want you to get that wrong. You see where I put an E, and I scratched out the D, and I drew in my 16th notes on the E? Okay, you go ahead and do the same thing, okay? All right. Now, in terms of the first and second ending for the right hand, the only difference is your ending note duration, okay? The ending note duration in the first ending is a dotted quarter. So that means you're ending the measure with a little bit of silence. Now, the ending note of the second ending for the right hand is a C, but it's a dotted half note. So it's twice as long as the first ending last note, okay? And instead of having a half rest, it has an eighth rest, okay? That may not seem like a huge deal to a lot of people, but it's a huge deal because of the ending matching up with the left hand ending. We have a triad, a C major triad, and it's a whole note. So we have to be able to sustain that. Right? You got to be able to do that at the end of it, okay? Now, I guess I need to play the chorus for you, right? So you know what the chorus sounds like, hands together. Hopefully you're still with me. This is a pretty long lesson. Typically the lessons are about, 30 minutes long, but I think we're going to probably end up around 40 minutes for this one. That's okay. It's just the nature of the song is a little bit harder. So, okay, let's see how this goes. Chorus time. Okay. All right, so starting here at measure 15, we're starting with our pinky on that C, and we've got our fingers 1 and 2 on F and A in the left hand bass clef, okay? I'm going to count off. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes, but we'll see, okay? 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, now let's do the chorus again, starting at measure 15, but let's do it with the second ending now, okay? This is going to sound a little different at the end, a little bit more abrupt with the harmonic triad in the left hand, okay? Let's give that a try. 1, 2, ready, play. It's a tricky song. It's very deceiving though, because you think, oh, C major, woohoo, no sharps and flats. But because it's so simple, that's what makes it so challenging, okay? And since like nearly everyone on the planet knows what it sounds like, it's like added pressure, right? But have fun with it, okay? Don't let it be the song that like gets you down. This is supposed to do the opposite, right? It's supposed to remind us of what's important in life, right? It's a beautiful piece, and in due time you will master it, okay? I need to work on it too, so we can work on it together. In Learn With Me channel on Discord, I'm going to be posting my progress videos as well, because you obviously heard that there's some stuff that I've got to work on as well. So don't ever feel like nervous or anything that it's not perfect. Like, I'm not that teacher. There are plenty of those types of teachers on YouTube that are like really pushing perfection and amazing, crazy stuff. I'm teaching you for your enjoyment, right? Perfection, I feel, is something very difficult and nearly impossible to achieve. I just want you to progress. I just want you to get better, and I want you to feel better, okay? So if that fits your style, if I'm grooving with you, join my studio, all right? Thanks again for joining me for this Imagine piano lesson. We had a really good time. Again, quick reminder, la la, there's my logo, woo! There's my Patreon, right? So Patreon, of course, I always talk about Patreon. It's important though, because that's like how I pay my bills and stuff. So if you want to help me like pay for my internet or my lights or buy me some lunch, then consider joining, okay? $3 a month. If you can afford that, awesome. If you can't, that's okay too. Patreon is optional, but I have 70 patrons. I'm trying to hit 100 by March, so maybe you can be one of my people. All right? I'd love to have you. All right? And again, last thing, of course, Discord. Please don't join Discord. We have lots of fun there. Posting videos and talking about songs. You can do song requests on there. I post the music files there if you weren't able to get them before. You get feedback from me, right? So like if you're working on a really hard passage or need help with a fingering pattern, I can help you with those things, right? But if you don't post them there, then I don't know if you need the help or not, right? I'd love to have you, okay? All right. Goodbye, my friends. We had a good time. I'll see you for next week's Learn With Me, okay? We are going to be learning Radiohead's Creep. So that's going to be like a really cool one too. All right? I will see you then. Take care. Bye.